Welcome custom car fans, this is Aurora representing the EXU staff team, and today we'll be covering the newest ban list to go into effect on EXU in preparation for the next core set to be released, Darkwing Blast. This set is not nearly as potent as Power of the Elements, although there are a few outstanding issues in the format that we are seeking to address. Overall, however, what this list seeks to do is bring some power into the format, injecting a number of cards into the game that will increase the strength of their respective strategies. Without further ado, let's get into the ban list. Our list of ban cards this time around is quite slim. As we've said, this ban list is about upping the strength of the previously unused strategies. Firstly, naturally, is White Dragon Wyverburster at 0. We think that it's unfair that Black Dragon Collapse Serpent has to sit out and be banned, so we're switching the places on the ban list as tradition foretells. And now for the meat and bones of this ban list update. Fresh from Darkwing Blast, Sprite Sprint is being banned. This card is in a similar situation to Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss, although it has a few upsides that trade for its smaller pool of targets that it can send to the graveyard. Its materials to summon are lighter than those of Cherubini, and it has a more advantageous and more generally applicable second effect than the aforementioned Burning Abyss. As a result, it is forbidden from EXU's sanctioned play. Second is an affirmation of the TCG ban list, that being... Wait, what do you mean Ronan Toten's not banned? We're not getting sub back? Who in the right mind... Sorry about that. The next band we have is Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Being a generic Synchro 8 with a very powerful effect to essentially mill 5 on summon makes it an incredibly powerful card, and also being able to revive itself by banishing a light and a dark made this card a very potent combo piece to a number of decks, and it pushed several over the edge of balance. As a result, it will no longer be legal in EXU. Another card being hit due to the release of Darkwing Blast is Secret Village of the Spellcasters. After Imperial Order came Anti-Spell Fragrance, and after Anti-Spell came Secret Village. Specifically, this is searchable and playable in Magispector through their new Dracoslayer, and due to the deck already having plenty of power in EXU, we've elected to not give it a searchable Imperial Order. The last card in the Forbidden section has spent far too long in the current format. Despite being considered barely playable on arrival in the game, the advent of a number of decks that can take advantage of its unique effect have made the card incredibly one-sided and oppressive, such as Fluwandereeze, Exorcister, and Wicked Booster. Dimension Shifter is now banned from competitive play due to how one-sided the card is in the decks that it's designed for. Its effectiveness at shutting down any deck without a clear non-graveyard or banished focus cannot be overlooked any longer. To start off the cards that are newly going to 1, we should talk about the decks that are being reduced in power level. Or rather, deck singular that's being reduced in power level. For quite some time now, plants have been a dominant force in the competitive landscape of EXU, as all of the tools that Plantlink had in its stint of playability in the TCG have been legal at EXU for quite some time. Therefore, the first card limited on this list is Aromaseraphy Jasmine. This reduces the strength of Plantlink combos significantly, as they are now unable to use a second Jasmine to search for a second plant out of the deck, which will cut great holes in the regular lines of their plays. More than Sinavalon, however, Rika has been enjoying great success as a powerful meta contender, and both of its cards that came out in Power of the Elements are partly to blame for this. Though they were overlooked then, they won't be now. Rika Konkon and Rika Princess are both limited to 1 copy per deck. Konkon being able to tribute your opponent's cards to activate the effect of your strong Rika cards, like Rika Sheet or Rika Tranquility, was really quite oppressive, especially when it also searched for those cards. And Rika Princess being both a free extender for any plant deck, as well as a negation tool, was frankly too much. Hopefully, this will end the reign of terror that plants have enjoyed for the last format. On a different note, one card that will be going to 1 as soon as it arrives from Darkwing Blast is the Bisted MAGNUMUT. This card is incredibly powerful in conjunction with almost any dragon-based deck due to its search in the end phase. Not only can it be summoned off used hand traps like Effect Veiler, but it can also banish your opponent's light and dark monsters in the favourably likely situation that they are playing such a deck, making this card very strong. Finally for the hits is another card out of Darkwing Blast, that being Lady of the Labyrinth. Labyrinth is already a decent deck at EXU, and Lady would make it far more powerful. It's an extra 3 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison, but this time searchable and part of the archetype, therefore synergizing further. As a result, we have chosen to limit this card precautionarily. More importantly, however, are the cards coming back that are going to really shake up the format. TRON Mu Beta FAFNIR is back at 1 copy per deck. Despite being an incredibly potent piece of Tron support, the archetype severely struggles without access to cards like Diviner of the Herald, Heralds of Perfection and Ultimateness, and Mateanus Tron. Another powerful card coming back to 1 is Nadia's Servant, as Dogmatica hasn't really been seeing too much play, but it will boost the power of a number of rogue to tier 2 strategies such as Pure Dogmatica and Dogmatica Animathos. SARYUJA follows suit from the TCG in coming down from Forbidden. With the new Prediction Princess support and existing flip support on the server, it'll be interesting to see if SARYUJA can make a splash, though we don't think it will. The more powerful staples rejoining the format start with Change of Heart, now at 1 copy per deck. This is a massive power card, and will definitely see play in a number of decks as a removal option alongside Mind Control. The other very potent staple re-entering the format is Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Frisian. Destrudo easily enables a number of powerful synchro plays, and it will certainly be a big boost to a deck like Dragonlink or Dragoonity, neither of which have seen significant play at EXU for quite some time. Magical Meltdown is also now limited, but I'll refrain from discussing this at the present time, for a reason you'll soon find out. Our semi-limited list actually has some movement this time around. First of all, LICH the Golden Lord is going to 2 to strengthen the power of the LICH engine. Currently, we feel that LICH is a little too underpowered, as any removal on the Lord in the graveyard, such as with a DD Crow or the Omnipresent Call by the Grave, completely kills its resource loop. Now, LICH is far less fragile, and will have a much easier time in making plays. Second up is Sword Soul strategist Long Yuan. With the removal of Crypta, one of our most powerful worm archetypes, we feel that Sword Soul is currently overhit on the ban list. Long Yuan is definitely the best candidate to trial at 2, as even though it greatly increases the power of decks like Tenyi, it's weaker than both Chixiao and Moye. Finally, Trickstar Light Stage is also being put to 2 copies per deck. This card represents quite a bit of link material by using cards like Canadia, Lilybell, and Corobane, and also some neat back row disruption that combo decks can use as a piece of mid-combo removal. We don't think that it's going to become too much of an issue in the upcoming format, as there are similar engines that give you access to just as much material and aren't currently problematic. Now for a big one, the unlimited section. ALEISTER the Invoker is now at 3 copies per deck, swapping with Magical Meltdown to give Invoked a handy boost. Only having access to 1 ALEISTER left Invoked heavily vulnerable to disruption, so hopefully this switch will make the engine more consistently useful. Another deck that hasn't been seeing play, despite having some heavy hits on the ban list recently, is DDD. So, to give it a bit of a boost, we're going to be unlimiting Dark Contract with the Gate. Hopefully this will breathe some life into DDD and help it to once again taste meta viability. In lieu of the banning of Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, Nopunk Foxy Tune will once again be available to play at 3 copies, as Chaos Ruler was the reason it was limited in the first place, therefore making its remaining there redundant, and this will also give Pure Punk a much higher consistency in the coming format. SARYUJA Skulldread will also be coming back to 3. Deep Draw, while a concerning strategy, mostly relies on high ceiling, low consistency engines, like Danger Darkworld, in order to access the depth of their decks. While being able to loop SARYUJA is certainly strong, we don't think it's going to be problematic. Servant of Endymion, while certainly a very powerful card, is also being moved from limited to unlimited this list. Despite gaining Monkey Board a few months ago, Pendulum still hasn't made an impact on the competitive scene, and we don't really think that the deciding factor is going to be Servants unlimiting, though we hope that it will help the deck to find its footing, while also massively helping pure Endymion and spell counter decks. Tearlament's Harvest is also being unlimited. While both Tearlament and Sprite were hit fairly heavily on the last list, without Kit Kalos to support it, Tearlament has remained a broadly inferior strategy to Sprite, and to the metagame at large. Hardness's limit as the third best Tearlament monster has retroactively been decided as overkill, and we are unlimiting it for this reason. True King Lithosogem, the Disaster, is also being unlimited, due to the deck it supports most, Dinosaur, being largely ignored by the metagame as a whole. We think that this card could come back to 3 and have no terrible consequences, and as such it is unlimited. The last card moving to unlimited this list is, and I can't believe I finally get to say this, Virtual World Maihime Lulu. Without a huge payoff, the Virtual World deck is still relegated to Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, Beatrice Lady of the Eternal, and Virtual World QB Shenshen, though Lulu gives access back to the deck for its best consistency piece. The last thing we need to quickly discuss are the terrible TCG ban list takes that will not be implemented on our ban list. The coveted Frog Swap will not be implemented, Ronin Totem will remain unlimited, and Substitoad will remain forbidden. This news is courtesy of the fear of every staff member from the Frog fanbase. Despite what their equips might tell you, their bite is more than simply 2 toads and 1 sting. It's a lot of stings. Oh, it's a lot of stings. Cyber Angel Ben 10 is remaining limited, to keep the power of Drytron in check, and the same for Spellbook of Judgment remaining forbidden. A Pointer of the Red Lotus will remain unlimited, and the same with Mecha Phantom Beasts O'Lion and Blackwing Steam the Cloak, though I suspect only the latter of these will see play in the days to come. What are the new decks to watch out for, both from this ban list and Darkwing Blast as a whole? Well, DDD now seems quite competent, and the same for both Drytron and Tearlament. Blackwing could very possibly become a very powerful deck with its added support from the new set, and the same with all of Vernisylph, Magispectre, and Prediction Princess. You can find out yourself by clicking the link in the description of this video to our Discord server, where you can play competitively and casually and talk with hundreds of custom card creators around the world. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to be updated every time we upload. That's all from me, and we'll see you next time.